We are on weather alert with the potential for single-digit temperatures overnight. What you need to know to stay safe in this freezing weather. A new bill could keep sex offenders off the street longer. Why one victim's family is fighting for tougher restrictions. Lawmakers also working to tackle juvenile crime with the 2024 legislative session in full swing. How lawmakers on both sides are working together to find a solution.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
We are on weather alert today with bitter cold temperatures throughout our region. A code blue extreme cold alert is in effect in Baltimore City now through Thursday morning, with temperatures tonight expected to dip into the teens and wind chills into the single digits. You're taking a live look now at the Inner Harbor, Towson, Annapolis, and our temperature map as our team of meteorologists tracks the winter weather. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm Mary Bubala. We have team coverage tonight. In a few minutes, Rebecca Pryor joins us with how residents are cleaning up after the first significant snowfall in 2 years. But first, let's get right over to meteorologist Jasmine Lomax with what we can expect tonight. Jasmine.
Thanks, Mary. We have been dealing with cold temperatures all day long, and as we head into the night, the numbers are just going to get lower and lower. Right now, temperatures are below freezing in the 20s and 30s across the state. Wind chills are even lower, and you'll notice the drop overnight. Over the next few hours, our temperatures go from the mid-20s to the low 20s. But notice the wind chills already in the teens right now. By 10 p.m., we could be talking wind chills around 11 degrees. Tomorrow morning, as you wake up, the numbers could even be in the single digits, so make sure that you are prepared and you have the layers. In addition to the cold, we're looking at the potential for a refreeze tonight, leading to some icy spots in the morning. Coming up, we'll have a closer look at where we could see a refreeze and when we have the next chance for snow in my full forecast. Mary?
Jasmine, thank you. Well, after the first significant snowfall in 2 years, residents are cleaning up throughout the city and state. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor has the latest effort to keep roads and walkways safe.
Well, for the most part, our roadways are looking pretty good already. As you can see, taking a look over top at 83, you can see pretty much completely cleared off there. That's because hundreds of our city crews, they have been out working around the clock so that you can enjoy your snow day safely, something that Baltimore City residents haven't been able to do in a very long time.
The end to Baltimore City's years-long snowless slump.
I didn't realize how long it had been.
Catching some by surprise.
We may have lost the scraper.
But even as Erin Maley substitutes her missing scraper with a broom, don't confuse her lack of preparation as disappointment.
As a teacher, I love the snow, so just letting all kids know that teachers love the snow and snow days.
And as you can imagine, along the slopes of Federal Hill and Patterson Park.
1, 2, 3, go!
Baltimore City students also incredibly eager to see the city's no snow streak finally behind them.
I like playing in the snow. I get to go really fast.
Hey, you want to do it again?
This dad even taking off work to savor his son's very first winter weather experience.
Can always make money. Can't always, enjoy the first time he's in the snow.
Meanwhile, city crews are working overtime, seen taking several trips to the city's salt barn, reloading supplies. The Department of Transportation sending out 400 plows overnight and 200 this morning to clear and treat the roadways. Around-the-clock efforts.
I could hear them all night going past the house with the plows.
Making all the difference for drivers.
So I think they're doing really good.
From highways to side streets, the roads essentially snow-free, allowing you to safely enjoy its return.
Everybody's smiling. Nobody's worrying about the price of groceries or what's going on. Everybody's just worried about having fun right now. That's what it's all about.
And again, for the most part, the roads that we saw, they look dry, they look clear. But if you happen to see a street that the city may have missed, you can always call those in to the city's 311 line. Reporting in Baltimore City, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
The weather tonight already impacting school start times tomorrow. Cecil, Hartford, and Baltimore County schools all on a 2-hour delay. For a full list of school systems impacted by the snow, head to foxbaltimore.com. and put the power of the Weather Authority Storm Center in your hands. Download the free WBFF Weather Authority app for your smartphone. Use our powerful Doppler radar to follow storms right down to your street. Just go to the App Store and search WBFF to get started. Governor Wes Moore plans to back legislation that will limit early release for some sexual assault offenders. It is a proposal lawmakers are expected to consider this session in response to last year's murder of Baltimore tech executive Pavel Lapierre. It is called the Pavel Marie Lapierre Act. It would restrict some sexual assault offenders from earning time off their sentence for good behavior. 26-year-old Lapierre was killed in her Baltimore apartment back in September. Authorities say the man charged with killing her, Jason Billingsley, was released early for good behavior. He was in prison for a first-degree sex offense. Now, Baltimore City State's Attorney Ivan Bates and Lapierre's family are fighting for tougher restrictions.
One example, one time is one time too many. We want to make sure that we put laws in place that will keep all the citizens protected, and we don't want to go ahead and see it 3, 4, 5, 10 times. But we need to make sure if this law was in place, then we feel strongly that we would not have the victims in this case.
It means to me that no other family and no other father has to go through the loss that we've experienced that could have been avoided with a slight change in the legislation that has been in effect since 2016.
A change to the legislation, just one piece of the criminal justice policy debate happening in Annapolis. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost was at the State House today, has the latest effort to curb juvenile violence.
Governor Wes Moore tells me that he wants to see accountability in any piece of legislation that comes to his desk in terms of juvenile crime. But what that actually means in terms of legislation still remains unclear, and some leaders are refusing to talk about specifics.
Welcome to the Banner's first preview of a 90-day session.
Juvenile crime top of mind for most leaders in Annapolis this year.
I want legislation that focuses on accountability.
During a panel discussion Tuesday morning, the leaders of the judicial committees in both chambers talking about holding the Department of Juvenile Services accountable for its responsibilities, especially with more than a $300 million budget.
So what are we spending this $318 million every year?
We have buildings.
That's what we do, but that's what I'm talking about, where we have to re-examine.
Not entirely clear that we're following up with some of those kids who need to be followed up with.
Senate President Bill Ferguson also talking about ensuring programming offered within DJS is effective. But Speaker Adrian Jones made it clear wholesale juvenile justice changes are not likely this year.
Senate, we don't anticipate rolling back any of these juvenile justice laws. We're looking to make some tweaks to them.
Later, we tried to clarify with the speaker about her comments.
Why not make larger changes?
I had to be, not just in general, because we did something all wrong. We had hearings, etc.
Right, but no laws were actually changed during those hearings.
But we have a bill that did not get passed, and that's what.
So what bill should we be looking for this session?
The bill that didn't get passed last time.
Which was what?
It's the juvenile justice bill. You'll see it when it comes out. It'll be on the document. I don't want to take from the person, it's a good bill. Okay,
but which bill is it? Which bill are you talking about?
But instead, Speaker Jones walking away from us without providing any clarity about what she's looking for.
While there may be differences in little details, overall there's a unified approach or unified vision that we have to get this. This has to change. We have to do better.
Later, we pressed Senate President Ferguson about the speaker's comments and what's going to unfold.
Do you think the messaging is wrong, though, to hear from the speaker say that it'll just be tweaks to the current system when we're hearing an outcry from communities that they want a bigger change?
I think we'll see real reform that is important and real.
He says the juvenile justice reform law previously passed was not the end, but like Speaker Jones, rolling it all back isn't likely.
Those reforms were the right direction. How they've been implemented has not met our goal. When it comes to specifically kids with firearms.
Who's responsible for the failure of the implementation?
Look, all of us at some degree. I mean, at some point, it's not okay where we are. And, I think all of us should feel a level of accountability that kids deserve better, communities deserve better.
All right, good afternoon and welcome everyone to the...
Meanwhile, hearings are happening in the Senate, where DJS Secretary Vincent Schiraldi continues to back data that he says shows declining juvenile crime.
Juvenile crime rates are still much lower than they were a decade ago and still lower than they were pre-pandemic.
All while prosecutors...
The reality is the numbers do not suggest a reduction in youth crime.
Continue to push back on that notion.
Is youth crime down? It's not by any measure of anybody who's paying attention.
Lawmakers say they are committed to finding a solution, but right now conversations continue without a clear path forward. With the focus seemingly starting to take shape around oversight and accountability within the Department of Juvenile Services, we could get more information about how that will actually play out in reality when Governor Wes Moore unveils his budget proposal Wednesday morning. In the State House, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
New revelations in the investigation into the government's response to the coronavirus pandemic. I'm Christine Frizzell with some harsh new measures some Republican lawmakers are calling for.
And tonight we're getting ready for the coldest temperatures of the season and a potential refreeze. Then by Friday, the next chance for snow ahead of a warmer week next week. I'll have a closer look at what you can expect over the next several days in my full forecast.
Well, we are on weather alert with extreme cold and a code blue alert in effect through Thursday morning. You're taking a look at the Inner Harbor with snow still on the ground, which could freeze overnight into icy patches. And on the right, a look at our temperature map as those temps continue to fall. The Carroll County Public School System just announced they too will be on a 2-hour delay. They join our team of meteorologists tracking the winter weather. Let's get right over to meteorologist Jasmine Lomax with the forecast for us. Jasmine?
Thanks, Mary. It just keeps getting colder and colder, and the worst is yet to come. That's going to be tomorrow morning when we wake up to temperatures in the teens and wind chills in the single digits. Right now we're at 26 and mostly cloudy over Baltimore. Winds are out of the northwest around 14 miles per hour. It is breezy, and that's contributing to a wind chill of about 14 degrees. Now we're nice and dry around the state, not seeing too much happening on the HD radar. Clouds remain, but those are going to quickly clear tonight. Our temperatures are in the 20s and 30s, below freezing across the state. As we head into the night, we drop to the teens. Our wind chills will be dangerously low. And in addition to the cold, we're looking at the potential for a refreeze tonight. We're mainly talking standing water and slushy areas where we could see that refreeze. Also, untreated roads, definitely looking at the potential for a refreeze there. And then bridges and overpasses are usually the first to freeze. You want to make sure that you're driving safely in the morning and be prepared for some slick spots. Give yourself some extra time on the roads. Tonight, the clouds clear, and that's going to allow temperatures to quickly plummet. We'll start with sunshine tomorrow morning. By the afternoon, it's still nice and sunny, but not much relief as temperatures stay below freezing. We'll have more clouds to start off on Thursday morning. Then by the afternoon, highs reach the upper 30s and low 40s, but we have the next weather maker that will follow. We could be looking at a few flurries closer to the state line Thursday afternoon, but it's the night when we start to see more snow across the state. This continues into Friday morning. So if you will be driving in the morning, be prepared for slippery spots on the roadways as that snow continues. It'll gradually start to taper during the second half and into the night. We'll stay dry on Saturday, but expect a cold and blustery day for the Ravens game. 15 for the low temperature tonight. Wind chills will be in the single digits. Then tomorrow, highs around 30. However, wind chills stay in the teens and the low 20s. Coming up, we'll have a closer look at when to expect snow and warmer temperatures in the exclusive 10-day forecast.
The House Select Committee on the COVID-19 pandemic is out with a new update on recent closed-door testimony with the former director of the National Institutes of Health. It comes as Republicans continue to investigate the origins of COVID, some now calling for more accountability for the government's response. Sinclair national correspondent Christine Frizzao joins us live from our D.C. bureau. And Christine, what are you learning about all this?
Yeah, so Mary, this committee has only met a few times here on Capitol Hill, but a lot of those meetings that they're having are behind closed doors. So members are starting to reveal some of what they're finding.
As a mystery virus spread like wildfire throughout the globe, Dr. Francis Collins was in charge at the National Institutes of Health, issuing calls for action and orchestrating the public response.
There is this issue about children getting infected and then infecting others around them that may have an immune system that can't handle it. And that's one of the reasons I think we are so concerned.
A just released email shows part of his response included calls for a, quote, quick and devastating takedown of a policy known as the Great Barrington Declaration, which outlined grave concerns about the damaging physical and mental health impacts of COVID lockdown policies, especially on children. GOP lawmakers revealing Dr. Collins in closed-door testimony also now concedes the lab leak hypothesis that the virus may have started in a lab in Wuhan, China, is not a conspiracy theory, though in the height of the pandemic, it was deemed as such, an opposing theory much more widely accepted.
It's much more likely that this was a natural occurrence.
Dr. Anthony Fauci remains a top target for Republicans who argue his decisions cost lives, and his statements on the origins of the virus meant those who disagreed were punished.
He tried to downplay any idea that this could be coming from the lab. He convinced people like Twitter and Facebook to downgrade these stories.
Senator Paul now calling for more action.
In public, he still denies it. He still denies that there was any U.S. funding of the gain-of-function lab in Wuhan, but he just hasn't been honest. So for his dishonesty, frankly, he should go to prison.
Democrats continue to defend Dr. Anthony Fauci, praising his work as a public servant. They're also blaming Republicans for politicizing the pandemic, promoting vaccine hesitancy, and spreading misinformation.
There is a complete dismantling of the importance of what vaccinations actually have done in this country and how many lives they've actually saved.
As a new wave of COVID spreads, how it all began and how those in charge responded remains under the microscope on Capitol Hill.
And Christine, there's a lot to unpack from all of this. What is next in this investigation?
Well, Mary, if Democrats regain control of the House this November, this investigation likely goes away. Now, the current chairman, Republican Brad Wenstrup, he has said, first of all, he won't be seeking re-election, but he insists his mission all along has been one of oversight, bringing to light the government's response to this extremely deadly pandemic.
Christine Frizzell reporting live for us in D.C. tonight. Thank you.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
After this latest round of storms, more than half the country is now covered by snow. From the ice storm that's left trees coated in Oregon to the light snow in Jasper, Alabama. From Chattanooga, Tennessee, where one dachshund did its best to play, to Washington, D.C. for the first measurable snow in 2 years. And talk about icicles, check out what's hanging off rocks in Central Texas.
Listen to Off the Radar. New episodes every Tuesday. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Scott Thuman on the campaign trail where Iowa has made its decision. Now it's the mad dash to New Hampshire. Who sees opportunity and who may be seeing the end of the road? Coming up.
Campaign season is ramping up with the Iowa caucuses over and New Hampshire voting in just 1 week. And the race could look much different soon, including who's in and who's out. Sinclair's chief political correspondent Scott Thuman's on the trail in snowy Iowa with more.
Well, he said he was going to win big, and it turns out Donald Trump did just that and then some, taking the state by more than any Republican in history. Now the candidates take this race east to New Hampshire, which will have a huge say in what happens next.
The big night is going to be in November when we take back our country, and truly, we do make our country great again. Thank you.
Riding high from landing the first big blow in this brutal campaign, Donald Trump off to New Hampshire for next Tuesday's primary, which just a week ago looked very different, seen as a four-way fight before Chris Christie dropped out amid calls to consolidate the field. And then Monday night, Vivek Ramaswamy also calling it quits.
I called Donald Trump to tell him that I congratulated him on his victory And now going forward, he will have my full endorsement.
But if the polls hold true, it could be a slightly closer contest than Iowa was. On average, Trump still has a sizable 13-point lead over Nikki Haley, but nowhere near the roughly 30-point difference he enjoyed in Iowa.
As we head to New Hampshire, I have one more thing to say. We're gonna win! Underestimate me, because that's always fun.
She believes the Granite State will solidify her momentum and help her top Ron DeSantis after he squeaked out a second place in Iowa.
We represent a chance to reverse the madness that we've seen in this country.
History plays a part too. In 2016, Trump won New Hampshire in easy fashion, doubling up on John Kasich, Ted Cruz, Jeb Bush, and Marco Rubio, and Trump banking on a repeat performance.
And if the way he spoke after his win in Iowa Monday night is any indicator, it sounds like his New Hampshire narrative will be talking a lot about beating Biden, maybe less so about his GOP rivals. In Des Moines, I'm Scott Thuman.
We are weather alert as we prepare for some of the coldest temperatures tonight and tomorrow. A refreeze is possible. By the afternoon, highs reach 30, staying below freezing. We'll have plenty of sunshine. It will be mostly cloudy with highs in the upper 30s on Thursday, but snow follows on Friday. 35 by the afternoon, 28 and blustery on Saturday for the Ravens game, 35 on Sunday. Then for the work week, it'll be much warmer as temperatures reach the 40s and the 50s. Mary?
Jasmine, thank you. Well, finally tonight, the Queen of Pop returns to Charm City. She was here in May. Janet Jackson is extending her Together Again tour into the new year with special guest Nelly. Jackson will head to the DMV this summer. She'll be at Capital One Arena in D.C. on July 12th, and CFG Bank Arena here in Baltimore on July 13th. I saw her concert in May and she was fantastic. So if you're feeling nasty, ticket pre-sale starts tomorrow at 10 a.m. and general ticket sales start Friday. Well, that's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud's up next. We'll see you back here for the news at 10 tonight. Be careful out there. If you're driving or walking, it is slick, and we'll see you for the news at 10. Good night.